Hi everyone and welcome to this new luxury podcast provided by the Retail Consumer and Luxury Good Club of l'INSEAD, the famous RCLG. Today we have with us two specialists of the customer experience from the Parisian consulting firm Adone Conseil. So we have Mathilde and Agathe with us. How are you guys?
Fine, thank you.
Nice hearing from you. Welcome to the podcast. So we have Mathilde, which is a consultant with Adone Conseil. She's been working in the luxury industry. She has 4 years of experience in the customer experience, field and customer-centric area. And we also have Agathe. She has 2 years of experience in CX as well, and she is the marketing manager of today's expertise customer experience for Adone Conseil. So why don't we get started, guys? And we can start with Agathe. We'd like to know a little bit more about Adone Conseil. So can you tell us a little bit more about the consulting firm?
Yes, of course. So Adone Conseil is a consulting agency created in 2007 that supports the major luxury players in the digital revolution and help them create remarkable customer experiences. We are mostly based in Europe, in Paris, Geneva, and Milano. We have a strongly pragmatic approach based on excellence and business knowledge, so that we can advise our clients in complete independence to guide them in their technological choices as well as their business transformation projects. So Adone is the main player of management consulting in the luxury industry and executes strategic and operational missions for business and IT departments on worldwide projects. So these projects involve different expertise we have at Adone Conseil, such as omnichannel, customer knowledge, product and catalog management, as well as supply chain and data and analytics.
All right, this is quite complete, huh? It seems like I have to be honest and disclose it as well. I used to work at Adone Conseil before, and it's a very fine consulting firm. I really like it. Thank you, Agathe. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about customer experience as well, and give us a broad definition, and what do you mean by customer experience?
Yes, so actually the customer experience has several definitions because it is a really complete subject. So at Adone Conseil, we have defined it as all the emotions the client will feel before, during, and after his buying session. The final objective is, of course, to increase his brand engagement, meaning his connection with the brand. So we focused on our client takes to define our customer experience scope. And today we have noticed that our clients have issues concerning 3 points. So first, the customer data. It means how they can centralize all the customer data they catch at every touch point, so in physical touch points as well as in digital touch points, and how they can analyze and use this data to better know their customers. Second, the customer journey. It means how they can offer a smooth and omnichannel journey to their customers. Third, the customer relationship management. It means how they can collect customer feedbacks to increase their satisfaction and how they can provide customer data to sales associates to improve customer relationship. So now that I have presented you the main issues that our clients are facing today, I will give you a bit more of context with the actual situation.
Thanks.
So in the current context, customer experience has completely changed and luxury brands must change their strategy. Digital was included, but the lockdown has accelerated the change. Customer can't access to the boutique, so luxury brands have to offer a new customer experience, more digital and hyper-personalized. So to support luxury houses in this context, Adone Conseil developed 4 main subjects that luxury brands should address to maintain their activities in this specific situation. So first, they must re-enchant customer experience by developing remote purchase, for example, by offering a pay-by-link service, and also by implementing a tool to schedule a personalized venue in boutique. So we will detail how they can re-enchant customer experience later. Second, they must increase satisfaction by collecting their customer feedbacks at every touch point. So by touchpoint, we mean website, social media, Google, and video. And they can also use artificial intelligence so that they will be able to predict the behavior of their consumers and act immediately to avoid any insatisfaction. This is what we call the voice of customer, and this is actually one of our expertise at Adone Conseil. Third, they must offer new shopping experiences by implementing a virtual shopping where the sales associates will be in store and the customer will be at home, so they will discuss remotely. In that sense, the sales associate will present the collection and the selection he has already prepared for his customers because he is the best to know what he needs. Fourth, luxury houses should focus on their local customers and catch local data, as foreign customers cannot travel. So it means increasing their knowledge about local needs and develop customer engagement in their own market.
All right. So if I summarize quickly, the four main project and subject is like re-enchant customer experience, make it better than it used to be, increase satisfaction across all touch points, and offer a new shopping experience. And again, I think it goes with re-enchant, but you mentioned virtual shopping, and catch local data. I think local data is now very important, especially in a very globalized world. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly.
Great. So it looks like it's a very broad subject. So let me ask a question to Mathilde then. What was the framework that you used to address such a big and important subject? How did you decide the sector you wanted to analyze, the geographics as well, and the different period?
Yes, a good question. Indeed, as you know, this pandemic of COVID-19 was global, and this pandemic has affected various companies. That's why our study has a worldwide scope. And as Agathe just said, Adone supports the main actors of the luxury industry, as you know. So we have many examples from this sector in our study, but also from other sectors such as retail, for example, because all companies, no matter the sector and no matter the size, have had and still have to reinvent the customer experience. And besides, this study is based on economic and scientific articles and was conducted in May during the first lockdown in France. And it's finally still relevant now that several countries enter in a new phase of lockdown.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this lockdown is killing us, huh? And I guess the
Yes.
industry as well. Okay, so talking about the pandemic and the COVID-19, what have been the major impacts from your point of view, from your side? What have you noticed in terms of consumer behaviors?
So, you know, everything has changed because the world has changed as the coronavirus pandemic shuts down country after country. So we are now in a new normal. Consumers are deeply concerned about the impact of COVID-19, both from a health and economic perspective. And because of lockdown and social distancing, consumers have changed their reflexes of purchasing habits. So let me answer your question, developing three aspects, for me, three main aspects in this study. First, basically, consumer priorities have become centered on the most basic needs because people didn't want to take any risk. Their health was a priority. consumer expected brands to act accordingly. I mean, for example, in stores, this means a perfect sanitary reception, limited in number with a disinfection protocol, to maintain social distancing during their shopping experience.
Yeah, I clearly remember that. Remember that.
Yes, it was a priority. And then on a more structural and behavioral aspects, consumers rate their conscious consumption. French consumers declare today that they no longer want to consume as they did before, and that they now prefer local products. So the pandemic has made them question the way they consume and the way humans in general damage biodiversity. That's why consumers were more mindful of what they were buying, and they wanted to buy more sustainable options.
Let me interrupt you there just a little, just to know, do you think that this shift, this change in the consumer behavior is here to stay on the long run? Or do you think that's just a trend and at some point it will fade?
I think it's pretty hard to know now for the future, but if I had to answer now, I think it's like a new reflex. It's a new way of consumption, for everybody, because I think there is something more important in this pandemic. As I said before, it's like that humans damage biodiversity, and I think everybody, all the customers, want to change this way of consumption, and they will be more attentive of what they consume and where they consume, and maybe they will change their geographical way of consumption, and they will consume, I think, local products more and more.
Okay, yeah, completely got it.
And initially, I think consumers wanted to pay attention to their health, but at the same time, they increased their level of requirement towards their favorite brands because they were very concerned about the commitment of these brands to the pandemic. To give you an example, despite the fact that the lockdown has been good for Amazon, which made very good results, we see now an uprising to favor local actors, for local booksellers, for example, because there is a new awareness from consumers, and we assist to a geographic concentration of purchase intentions.
Yeah, people are fighting to keep the store open, huh?
Yes, they are fighting. Yeah, they really want to see the booksellers on the street and continue to buy the books instead of go to Amazon and do the order. And third, we have also seen new buying locations because quite logically, with the closure of many stores, consumers have been forced to shop online whenever it was possible. And we noticed that even senior consumers who didn't have this habit before switched to digital. So the period of lockdown has accelerated online shopping, but we can see that these behaviors persist today. We have a study to illustrate, because according to a Nielsen study done in April 2020, more than 80% of the growth in food e-commerce was generated by the drive. And this increase was clearly driven by the closing of many physical stores. And it's therefore naturally e-commerce that has had a stronger impact in terms of customer experience. And recently, in France, on November 1st, I think, the French government released a fund of 100 million euros to help digitalize small non-essential stores, which prove that having an online presence has become an imperative, knowing that only I mean, in France, only 1 store out of 3 is digitalized. So it's clearly a priority.
Yeah, I can see a real priority and shift toward e-commerce and digitalization. I guess for you guys, since you're specialized in digitalization, it's a good news, even though the situation is terrible for everyone. But I guess it's a good news. So I guess most of the company you usually work for, they had some kind of reaction, right? They must have reacted to this shift of consumer behaviors. So can you tell me a little bit more, what was the initial reaction, and what are they planning to do on the long term?
Yes, indeed, the companies have to respond. Because we've seen that the consumer expectations have changed, and for the brands, the pandemic of COVID-19 is an appointment not to be missed with their clients. First of all, companies had a drastic reduction of their physical sales, so they had to shift to digital, as I'd said before, and became more agile. During the lockdown in March, companies had to propose innovations, have to experiment new services, proposed new offers, and we saw an explosion of click and collect or home delivery. And in the luxury industry, the sales advisor are really close to their VIP customers, because luxury is about building a real relationship between the brand and consumer. So the closure of stores has created another barrier for brands looking to connect with consumers. So brands had to maintain this special relationship. And I will give you an example. As a new clienteling functionality, the French brand Céline launched an application during the first lockdown to allow its sales advisors to place orders directly for customers. Then the customers pay remotely and receive the purchase at home, directly at home. And this is a good example of a luxury brand that managed to reinvent itself and meet its customer needs. Also, we saw that companies had to become more empathetic and closer to their customers in order to make life easier for them. We noticed that loyalty programs were more generous, were more empathetic, and companies, yes, were more empathetic to their members. Many companies have adopted new approaches to adapt to this new situation.
So I'm sorry, just a question there. I'm surprised to see that companies gave more benefit to the customers in this time of crisis. So what you're telling me is, through the loyalty program, they give more benefit to the customers.
By benefits, I mean, it's not benefits, but I mean they did a review of their loyalty programs, and they allow their VIP customers, for example, to postpone the use of their points. For example, we saw in airlines companies that they carried over the customer loyalty points to allow customers to spend the point after the deadline date. So I think they were more generous, but just to allow customers to use the benefits after, because during the pandemic, it was impossible to use their points. But it's true that we saw acquisition strategies for several companies, and it was kind of new way to give more benefits to their customer. For example, with Canal Plus and Netflix, we saw that companies try to convert new customers and for that, they offered free services and new subscription. So to answer your question, it's true that for some companies, they did a lot of acquisition strategy with free services and subscription. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And finally, the big and growing challenge for the brands was to enhance the customer service on the front line with the customer. And this service must be more attentive to the customers than ever before, because since the beginning of the crisis, brands are improved their customer service to increase satisfaction by collecting customer feedbacks at every touch point. By every touch point, I mean website, social media, Google, video, etc. And thanks to artificial intelligence, they will be able to predict behavior and act immediately to respond to customers. For example, Nespresso has doubled its presence on its chatbot and social network thanks to the volunteer work of its employees. So community chats have since their interaction multiplied by 2.
Oh, wow, that's kind of impressive, huh? This is big figures.
Yeah,
And I guess there is some good news then. I was wondering about the customer experience. It's very difficult for me to picture it. So how does it look like today, especially with the crisis? And could you also let us know what is your view on the future of customer experience after the pandemic and in the short-term future?
Yes, of course. So the new customer experience, address topics that were already identified before the crisis, before the COVID-19, but which were not necessarily high priorities for companies. The pandemic accelerates these projects, which are becoming essential if companies don't want to lose their customers. So the customer experience will be definitely multi-channel. We really think that, yes, it will be definitely multi-channel. That's why physical stores must propose existing digital solutions to reinvent the multi-channel customer experience. We think that some existing stores could be transformed into experience centers that offer services and encourage shopping on all channels. We could see more and more pop-up stores, I think, more virtual fitting solutions, or the introduction of drives, which until now have only existed in the food industry. And we saw that by offering online sales, by offering virtual shopping, companies are not only responding to needs, but also creating new reflexes that are likely to become anchored in tomorrow's uses, and it's already the case today. So let me introduce what I said with 3 examples. The first one with, again, a French brand, Lancôme from L'Oréal Group. Lancôme has launched in September its first ever virtual pop-up store exclusively for Singapore. And it was an immersive retail experience in which consumers can access the flagship in the comfort of their own homes through a specific link. And the most interesting part in the fact that the physical store is replicated through live chatbots to guide the consumer was that consumers can interact with Lancôme's beauty experts by uploading selfies for virtual consultation.
Yeah, so a 360 experience, right?
Yes, totally. Yeah, totally. And another example was the spring-summer 2021 shows of the Fashion Week, because I don't know if you saw that under the influence of the pandemic, the Maisons were forced to find creative problem solvers. Yeah. Because it wasn't possible to do it physically. So they have integrated digital technology at the heart of their communication strategy. And we saw that brands used fully digital shows streamed online with videos promoting their collections. So it was a new fashion week this year. So it was really impressive to see all the digital technologies that they used. And then another example was Louis Vuitton. Because Louis Vuitton has allowed its customer to book a slot in boutique with the sales associate he used to know directly from its website. Because because of limits of customer into the boutique, few customers can be in at the same time, and this new way of having a slot in booking avoids long queue outside the boutique and avoid frictions.
I see. And just a quick question there. Cosmetic and fashion, they're usually at the forefront of digital innovation. They're very big players in being online e-commerce, and this is very true for cosmetic and fashion. And more information about mobile strategy as well.
Yes, because third, that this hyper digitalization that I told you comes with a new mobile first strategy and with social networks. So time spent at home during lockdown has skyrocketed, the use of smartphones and with it consumption via the mobile channel. And therefore it has exploded the volume of usable data for companies. So yes, in the near future, the new customer experience will be definitely a perfect personalized marketing and not a simple segmentation logic as before. So yes, we see a new mobile strategy now. Yes.
Right. Well, Mathilde and Agathe, we've been together for 25 minutes now, so I'm being conscious of time, and I'll suggest we try to wrap up this session and this podcast. And as usual, what we try to do is address a question to the INSEAD student. And then the question is usually, what are your advices that you might have for the next manager, the next luxury and retail manager in terms of customer experience? What would you give them? What kind of advice would you give general manager, marketing manager, CRM manager to make sure that the customer experience is actually aligned with customer expectations?
I think there is no single universal checklist to follow to guarantee good customer experience because we think that a business is unique and the customers are unique for a company. However, I think this study has shown the new client expectations. So you have to take in account this new expectation, especially in the luxury industry. And therefore, companies must ensure that they meet these needs in the long term. So as a manager, I think it's really important to develop innovative premium services, to adapt to this crisis, and to keep in touch with customers, because it's really important to maintain this special link with the customer. And we think that it has become the new standard, and that tomorrow customers will expect to continue to have a personal shopper, maybe who does their shopping remotely or take an appointment in store and also be delivered directly at home. So it's really important to maintain this relation. And finally, I think if I speak for Adone Conseil, I think Adone Conseil will help companies reimagine the relationship with their customers and create a better experience for them by creating a customized customer experience with concrete and actionable actions. So yes, Adone, with 10 years of expertise in the luxury industry, can help the managers and can create this a specific customer experience adapted to the business and adapted to the identity of a company. So yes, it's our point of view for the manager of INSEAD. Yes.
All right. So guys out there, the last word is you need to adapt, keep in touch with your customers, be aware that this is going to be the new expectation for the customers. So there's no way back. And I guess the last word was, if you need help, well, it's okay to ask help for specialized consulting firms such as Adone. Agathe, do you have a last word to share with us before I conclude?
Just want to thank you for giving us this specific session to talk about Adone Conseil and our advice to face the crisis. And yes, I hope that this podcast will help students imagine the customer experience they will want to design tomorrow.
Well, you're more than welcome. Thank you for being with us and sharing your expertise. It was great. INSEAD student guys online, if you want to look at the white book, it's in French. So it's a good way for you to improve your French, especially if you plan to be in Fonty for the next couple of months. The name is L'impact du Covid sur la customer experience. You can find it on Adone website, sorry, I think it's under the expertise customer section. So go download it. I mean, if you don't speak French, you can still contact Mathilde and Agathe. Will be more than happy to introduce you. So Agathe, Mathilde, thank you again. INSEAD guys, stay tuned for the next podcast. Sorry, that will probably happen in a couple of weeks, and probably with the new leadership team. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Agathe. Thank you, Mathilde.
Thank you, Lorient.
Thank you, Lorient.